Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. In this video, I want to address a thing that came up in the last video. In case you didn't see the last video, I would highly encourage you to watch it. Um, for me, it's one of my more interesting videos to me. Um, just the implications of it and the idea. So, the basic idea is that it seems like the church has made lots of changes in the last few years, not just to modernize, not just to whatever, but to actually free up people to participate in ordinance work at the beginning of the second coming. Okay, because at the beginning of the beginning of the millennium, because at the beginning of the millennium, um, according to Brad Wilcox in a fireside last year, um, Christ is going to identify himself with his church, and many, 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 many people on the order of a billion or more will join. They'll want to join in a day. So, how do you prepare the church for that? Well, one way you do that is you make it so that you get rid of redundancies, or you kind of restructure so that priesthood holders are freed up to be able to perform ordinance work, right? So, for example, um, now witnesses to a baptism don't have to be priesthood holders. It can be young women, young men, right? And those priesthood holders that would normally be there are freed up to go and perform baptisms themselves, or do something else. And we went through a whole list of different things that seem to have freed up resources. So uh, the the idea came up, well, we're going to have resurrected people here, and they're going to be able to perform ordinances. So, and there's going to be a ton of them, so it's not going to be a problem. Well, that turns out not to be true, and I knew that before, but I had to find the like a source. Um, so I'll share that with you in just a minute. Before I do, uh, I've been a little bit lax with the Book of Mormon tracker the last like week or two, and I'm sorry for that. We are doing a Book of Mormon sharing challenge on the channel if you'd like to participate, and I'm keeping track. So you share a Book of Mormon, put it in the comments or send me an email. I'll put it on the tracker. And we just hit another milestone. We are now at the 4,000 mark right here. We're at 4,073 shares of the Book of Mormon. So at least that many copies of the Book of Mormon have been sent out, although many of you have posted it on your social media and given me some like rough numbers of how many non-members of the church may have seen it. So that's why I have potential reach right here. So potentially 15,000, but probably even more. But for sure, at least 4,073. And I would encourage you to do this. I myself, and it doesn't have to be like a sprint, it can be over time. I myself, I've done 20 more since the last time we did a video, and I plan to hit up my entire contacts list. I plan to make it as personal as possible, but if there's just people that I don't really know, but I know they're not members of the church, I'm still going to send it because something is better than nothing, and I'll just send the link. Uh, the link for the Book of Mormon app can be found in the Gospel Library app. You go to Scriptures, and then at the top, you'll see a banner, and it'll have a share button, and it's for the Book of Mormon app. And then you can just text it. You can text it, you can email it, you can do a direct message on Facebook or Instagram or something like that. There's all different ways. People have been giving them in person, mail, text, email, direct message, um, social media. So just do it. And right now the channel goal is 10. Try to at least send out 10. Okay? Because if we did, right now I have a subscribership of 13,800. So that times 10, we would send out 138,000 copies of the Book of Mormon. Could you imagine that? Right? So doing this together, I think, well, it's caused me to share the Book of Mormon, whereas I may not have, sadly, but that's okay. At least we're doing it. And I know that it's the same with a lot of you. So we're at 4,000. Somehow or another, even though I have 13,800 people watching my channel, only 306 have actually reported to me that they're doing this. Some have said that they don't want to put their names on here. That's fine. I would still encourage you to do so, unless like you're in the witness protection program or something. Just let me know, because it could encourage others as this number goes up. So hopefully this number, 316 people that are sharing, will go up. And then I have 7 instances where people have said that after they shared the Book of Mormon, those people are now meeting with the missionaries. So hopefully we can start tracking baptisms off of this, but we'll just see. So I hope that you'll participate. I've had a couple people respond to this, because I want to encourage this effort. It's basically, we're calling it the flood the earth, like hashtag flood the earth. Jennifer Stevens, the girl that I last interviewed, she set up a Facebook page, and then Spencer Kelly set up a Facebook group. They're both called Flood the Earth with the Book of Mormon. And let's see, here is, excuse me, here is Jennifer's page. I'll put the link for this in the description below. Please like the page, and send stuff to her that she can share on here, and then you can share these things on your Facebook. And then here's the group that Spencer Kelly did. I haven't advertised it till just now, so there's only me and him. But again, make sure to like this page, join this group, okay? And then I just wanted to share a couple quick stories before we move on to what Joseph Fielding Smith said about resurrected beings participating in ordinance work. Okay, first I got an email from Anderson Hepworth. This has to do with sharing the Book of Mormon. He says, "Hey, I felt inspired to share a copy of the Book of Mormon with my brother. He is older than me and does not really care for the church. I was at the temple when I got this prompting. I've only had a handful of conversations with him the past 15 years. Well, I did question the prompting for a brief second because I did not want to stir the pot. But the prompting was clear, and I know it was not my job to decide how he will respond. My responsibility is to follow the prompting. So I messaged him, told him I loved him. I looked up to him and sent him the Book of Mormon. I heard nothing back from him. That was about 2 weeks ago. Well, last night I found out he passed away yesterday. So I do not know how he took it, but I am grateful I followed that prompting. It was literally the last opportunity to do that on this side of the veil. I guess we should treat everyone as if this is the last opportunity we have. I see now that there will come a day that we will I see now that there will come a day that he's so glad we did. We will be so glad he did. Okay, it's supposed to be regardless of the outcome in this life. Sorry, my grammar is weak. Andy. Thank you, Andy, for sharing this. That is amazing. You couldn't have known. You couldn't have known that he was going to pass away. I guess unless you were like intimately familiar with if he was like sick and declining, but I don't know, he didn't say how he passed away, but the spirit knew. The spirit knew that he was about to leave. So you guys, let's take it seriously. Do what you can before they die, before you die, before something prevents you from communicating with them, before they pass a point of no return, so to speak. There's some people that maybe if you get them sooner than later, they'll be more willing to change. So please send out the Book of Mormon. And by the way, this is all inspired from Elder Razban's talk called This Day. Okay. Elder Razban, he wrote that talk. Chelsea Newman right here, she sent me an email mentioning that talk. And then I decided, we should do a challenge as a channel. And then Lisa Washburn and Jennifer Stevens got in contact with me, shared a poem, like a Christmas poem of so we're not using it now, not until this next Christmas. But anyway, let's see. And then Natalie Stout came up with the hashtag flood the earth. Okay, just one last thing. In Elder Rasman's talk, he mentioned, hey, give it to your local grocery store produce guy. And I put out the challenge out there for someone to do it. And Allison L. Craig did it. She says, hi, Jared. Norm and I were finally able to connect with our produce man and gave him a Book of Mormon. We included a nice note with it. He thanked us. Being it was New Year's Eve, the grocery store was a madhouse, so we did not linger. Thanks for all you do and inspiring us. Thank you, Allison, for doing that. And that's just so great. And by the way, I don't know about you, but for me, I love it around the holidays when stores are just like bustling, just because it feels like there's life. Like it's just like everything. Things feel festive. There's like festivity in the air and the holidays, and I love it. For me, I love it. It is annoying, some people don't know how to navigate around grocery stores and like watch where they're going. Just do it like you're driving a car. Just stay on the right side. It's it. That's it. You do it all. That's how you got to the store. Just stay on the right side. When you walk out into the main aisle, uh, it's like an intersection. You should look like go slow. Make sure you're looking where you're walking. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, this is from Doctrines of Salvation, Volume 2 by Joseph Fielding Smith. He answers the question about can resurrected beings perform the saving ordinances of the gospel. He says here, only mortals can perform temple ordinances. Will resurrected beings during the millennium actually take part in the endowment work of the temple along with mortal beings? The answer to this question is no. That is, they will not assist in performing the ordinances. Resurrected beings will assist in furnishing information, which is not otherwise available, but mortals will have to do the ordinance work in the temples. Now, I swear we've already read this because I was wondering has anything been said about these people that we have no records of? You go back thousands of years, you have people that were poor, people just no records. How's that supposed to happen? Well, I mean, they know who they are, and they're on the other side of the veil, and missionary work is going on the other side of the veil, and they're keeping records. So what'll happen, according to this, is that people that were in the spirit world with them will bring that information or those records to us in mortality, but then we're the ones that actually do the proxy work. So, but there's more. He says baptism, confirmation, ordination, endowment, and sealings all pertain to this mortal life, and our ordinance is required of those who are in mortality. Provisions have been made for these ordinances to be performed vicariously for those who are worthy, but who died without the opportunity in this life to receive these ordinances in person. You can readily see that it would be inconsistent for a resurrected being to come and be baptized for the dead. The resurrected person has passed to another sphere where the laws and blessings do not pertain to this mortal life. This is equally true of every other ordinance. If it were permissible for resurrected persons to come and do work in the temples, then there would be no reason for us in this mortal life to act vicariously for them, for they would do it for themselves. And that's something like I came across something recently because I had it in my mind that you would have to have your work done first, and then after that, you would be resurrected to one of the 3 degrees of glory. Because the different degrees of glory, whatever glory you go to, whatever kingdom you go to, the bodies are different. Okay, they're not the same. So I figured, oh well, you would have your final judgment first, and like you basically it would be decided what glory you're going to, and then you get resurrected to that glory. Well, that turns out not to be true. You get resurrected, and then you have the final judgment, and then you go on to that glory. So it, I could dive into that deeper some other time, but so anyway, so what Joseph Fielding Smith is saying here is like, when you're initially resurrected, then it's like, oh, well, you're here and just do the ordinance work for yourself, and then after that, you'll have your final judgment. No, no, it's not how it works. Um, it's kind of like when I was going to school for accounting, uh, you have this idea of what do they call it? I didn't actually become an accountant, so you'll have to forgive me. This was years ago. But when you're tracking finances, there's the idea of periods, right? So you when you're keeping financial records, you keep expenses and revenue within the same period in which they occurred. Even though right now in the bank you might have this much money, you keep like an accurate history essentially of when money was received, when um, money went out in expenses, and that way you keep organized. Everything has to stay within its period, if that makes sense. So it would make sense that that's the same way with our eternal progression. It's like, no, mortality, this is the period, this is the time when this is done, and so it has to stay confined here. But somebody else can do it for you, but it does have to be here in by someone in mortality. And excuse me. So so there it is. So there is going to be a really big need for people to perform ordinances, both for the living and for the dead. When I say for the living, I just mean like ordinance workers, people to baptize, people to do confirmations, um, stuff like that. But then for the dead, yes, it's gonna take whoever is able to. As soon as you have a new member of the church, like you're someone, the second coming happens, you accept that he's the Lord and that this is his church. You join the church, and then just as soon as possible as you're able to, then you're able to start doing proxy, baptisms, and then later uh, initiatories and endowment and sealings and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so that's how it is. So there will be a really big need for work, for the work of salvation at the beginning of the millennium. In the last video, I tried to look up a website that talked about the need for missionary work at the beginning of the millennium, how not everyone's going to be members of the church at the beginning. And I found it here because I put it down on one of my trackers. This is under the I'll just do it this way. This is under the common misconceptions tracker. I would encourage you to check this out. There's a lot of really good information on this. The Antichrist, 666, all these things that people look to evangelicals for their answers for that. Okay, so right here, misconception. Only members of the church will make it through the second coming. Okay, Brigham Young said, when all nations are so subdued to Jesus that every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess, there will still be millions on the earth who will not believe in him, but they will be obliged to acknowledge his kingly government. Later, Brigham Young also said, in the millennium, men will have the privilege of being Presbyterians, Methodists, or infidels, but they will not have the privilege of treating the name and character of deity as they have done heretofore. No, but every knee shall bow and every tongue confess to the glory of God, the Father, that Jesus is the Christ. The next one, some members of the church have an erroneous idea that when the millennium comes, all of the people are going to be swept off the earth except righteous members of the church. That is not so. There will be millions of people, Catholics, Protestants, agnostics, Mohammedans, which are Muslims, people of all classes and of all beliefs, still permitted to remain upon the face of the earth. Okay, so I'm not going to read all these. I've already done a video where I've read all these, but here it is. All right. Okay, so that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.